Welcome to BatShit, a frank and funny look at living with mental illness.
While we'll touch on several illnesses, BatShit is focused on those along the spectrum of bipolar disorders. I'm your host, Adam.
And I'm your other host, Brad.
And we're both bipolar. So strap in and let's see how batshit we really are.
Spoiler alert, pretty goddamn batshit. Today's topic, check-in?
Check-in.
We don't know what to call this.
We don't know what to call this. So Brad brought this up. This is funny to me because Brad brought this up about 2 weeks ago. He was like, hey, we should do an episode we just check in and let the audience know that, like, we're going through these ups and downs too, and, that they're not alone, and that, even though that we're talking about it, we're still figuring out how to deal with it. And I remember at the time being like, I don't know if anyone's going to want to listen to my bull crap like that. And then this last week, I had such a bad week and went through such an episode when Brad was like, well, so what should we talk about on Monday? I was like, how about the check-in? We should do the check-in. Let's check in. Let's everybody check in.
So I think this is probably a good question because I get asked this by a lot of people, even my therapist. And a lot of times the answer is something, and a lot of times the answer is no. Did something trigger it, or did you just slip into it?
Okay. I think I know. I slipped into it. So on Wednesday night, I went out with 3 or 4 people and had a glass or 2 of wine. And I was out in public, but I didn't feel that kind of like, I need to get out of here. There's too many people. The social pressure was too much. Because when I do feel that, I bail. Like, I'm out. Like, I just, like, I make an excuse and I leave. That was not what this was. And the next morning, I woke up and I'm like, do I have a hangover? Because I didn't drink that much. And by the end of the day, man, like, I was not processing. I was not responding to emails, not answering texts. I was, my wife would say something to me and it would be like 4 minutes, 5 minutes before I respond to her. And it was, I don't know. I just slipped into it and it fucking sucked.
And you were in it for like 5 days.
5
right?
days. Yeah. Yeah. I am literally just coming out of it. I was just coming out of it. And my wife did everything she could to help. She did everything she could to help. Like, she was like, hey, well, let's, fuck eating well tonight. Let's, get pizza and, like, watch some bad movies or watch cool, some TV. And do you want to be left alone? I'll leave you alone. Read your book or go take a bath or, whatever you need. And she was amazing. And I was still just like, no, fuck you. And it came out like I was angry at her and that I treated her poorly, and I didn't want that to be the case, but it just kept happening. And then I would think I'd be climbing out of it. I think I'd be like, oh, okay, here's some sun. And then I'd do something, and it would be like I used up all of my energy allotment for that day, and I was right back in the shit. And I hated it. I hate every minute of it.
Yeah. That's, we talk about a lot on here how much the medication helps, how much the therapy helps. The thing that's hard to accept is there's no cure.
No.
You're never cured.
Nope.
You can maybe take those bad bottoms off. You can maybe make it more infrequent, but it doesn't go away.
No. And I mean,
It's herpes.
It's herpes.
Yeah.
It's brain herpes.
Brain herpes.
You didn't know they had brain herpes, but that's what they have. They have brain herpes now, and we both have it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have had that one wild night in college, Brad, rubbing our skulls together, like maniacs, like kids do. But I mean, I'm not alone, mate. You had a really bad episode a week or so ago too.
Yeah, I did, and it was kind of the same thing. There was no cause for it.
No cause, just
I just sunk into it, and it was so. So we'd been having in Los Angeles. Again, I'm not sure when you'll listen to this. We record these well in advance, and several of them back to back.
Yep.
But we'd had a very long rainy period, which we needed
No,
because
desperately.
everything is gorgeous right now. Like, it looks like Jurassic Park walking around.
Yep.
Minus velociraptors.
No.
But Sam Neill's everywhere, which
It's
is weird.
very odd. Yeah, he's still wearing that hat.
Yeah. But it got so sunny and so beautiful and so warm. And I was so looking forward to that. And then I had like 4 days where I couldn't get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a struggle to get out of bed. I had so much work to do, and I would literally sit in front of my computer and just stare at the screen for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I had my brain couldn't figure out where to start. I would open my email, and it would be such an easy thing to be, hey, I'm going to start with the top email.
Yeah.
And just start working through my email. And I would just sit and stare at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy, too, because, you know, we talk about how much joy and how much energy this podcast gives us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there were times during Brad would text me and be like, dude, look at how many people listen to our podcast today. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Whatever, great. I don't.
Well, and it's weird too. We've talked a little bit about this. We love the podcast, and we feel the podcast is another outlet of therapy for us.
Yep.
And we love that we're helping people. But there are times, much like with normal therapy, where we record and it fucking kills us for the next 2 days.
Yeah. It's actually one of the reasons I want to record 3 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to happen is be required to record on a Tuesday night and just not have it in me.
Yeah.
Now, I want to be able to say, hey, look, let's take this week off.
And we've done that.
And we've done it. We've already done it, and we only just started this thing.
Yeah. But it does, when those things hit you, you can't, I mean, we talked about this on the depression episode. You can't find any joy. You can't find any energy.
Nope.
It feels like wading through wet concrete just to walk across the fucking room.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do the things you need to do in your life.
Yeah. And that includes stuff you like to do. Like, during this period of the time I was in the depressive state, my verbiage is it's all messed up. I went to the Ren Fair. I went to the Ren Fair, and I was super looking forward to the Ren Fair because if you think I sound like the guy who has a rapier and wears, a shirt, deep V-neck shirt to the Ren Fair, you'd be right, because that's me. But I'm sitting there like, you know what? This is gonna kick me out of my funk. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna people watch, and I'm gonna
eat one of those turkey legs.
Oh, turkey legs, and do the turtle races, bet on turtles. And I did all of those things. And the whole time I was there, I was just in a shit headspace. I was with people, so I put on some airs. But at the end of the day, it's funny because the people who were with me know that I'm bipolar. So we got back in the car, and we're driving home, and I drove, and they're just like, "Are you okay? Like, what are you doing with the rest of your day?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And they're such supportive, wonderful friends, and they got it. And it was just so disappointing to me because, again, I'm sitting there like, look at these wonderful people I'm with. Look at this. I'm very fortunate to be able to go do this thing that I wanted to do.
You're out on a nice sunny day.
I am wearing a rapier. And still, like, I was just shit. And
that just goes to show you the advice that most people who don't get it give you is so full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, just go out, get some sunshine, see your friends, wear a rapier.
Yeah, wear a rapier. You didn't know that, but that's actually one of the first things any therapist will tell you is make sure you have a martial weapon and just walk around with a bunch of people dressed in leather, and you'll feel better about yourself. And
Adam does that at a Ren Fair. Yeah. I do it at a sex club.
Exactly, same thing. Yeah. It's the same thing. And his martial weapon isn't a rapier. Gross. I apologize for that joke.
It's nunchucks.
It's nunchucks.
Yeah.
God damn. But even now, man, like I can crack these jokes because I'm conditioned to crack jokes. It's like I'm trained to do it. It's how I'm self-taught, man, like deflect. Even now.
Yeah, it's our defense mechanism.
Yeah, it's a huge defense mechanism. Yeah. Even now, doing this podcast, I'm enjoying myself. I'm glad Brad's here. I'm having a good time. But man, is it work. Man, is it work right now.
Yeah, just putting in any effort for anything.
Anything. And here's the fucked up thing. If I don't know if any like maybe you have a podcast when you listen to this, right? But I'm gonna finish recording this, and then to edit this isn't that much work because we like to have it kind of raw. Like I don't cut out all the spaces and stuff. It's not that much work, but the idea is daunting. The thought of editing this right now, daunting.
Yeah.
Like everything just kind of piles on top. And I mean, I think that's another aspect of it is like, I'm, and tell us this, write us in. We were talking about this before the podcast. Like, what do you do when you're overwhelmed? And how easy is it to overwhelm you? Like personally?
And, yeah. We wondered because, okay. So like driving over here, my car wouldn't start.
Right.
I was like, God damn it. And figured out the battery wasn't holding a charge, blah, blah, blah. Long story. Won't bore you with it. So jumped it off, drove over here, and I've got this like little flashlight thing that I got for Christmas one year that has jumper cables. And
it's kind of good. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My mother-in-law got it for me, and you can use it to jump off your car. So that's what I did. And I came over, and I was like, oh, let me plug this up to charge. And like the surge protector I don't know what was going on. We couldn't get it charged. I was like, forget about it. But we were just talking. It was like, God, it's just like fucking one thing after another.
Yeah.
Do people without mental illness feel as overwhelmed about this shit as we do? Or do they just kind of suck it up and go about their day and like get things done?
Or like do they realize like it's not that big a deal?
Yeah, maybe that's
it's not that big a deal. I don't know.
Whereas for us, especially if you're on the depressive end of the spectrum, that shit just piles up and piles up, and it has physical weight to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I walk around sometimes feeling like I have a boulder on my back.
Yeah. Agreed. This past weekend, I have a dryer from like 1977 because I live in Los Angeles and my dryer is outside, and I refuse to buy a new dryer because I live out. I'm not going to buy a new dryer and stick it outside. That's stupid. It's a gas dryer. It is the most basic machine. It is a drum that turns. It is a pilot light, and it is a motor that turns said drum with a belt. So my dryer broke, and I was like, oh, of course it broke. It's just one more thing. Let me see what it is. And I swear to God, I looked it up on the YouTube, like how to fix this dryer. And the title of the video was like, easiest fix of a dryer you'll ever have. And I'm like, fuck you, YouTube. But it just, like, the belt got sent to me, and it felt like I was fucking moving a mountain to put that belt on. And it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't hard. And I knew that. Like that's the hard.
That's the worst part, right? You know it's going to be fucking easy. And you cannot bring yourself to do it.
Just do it. Just do it. And my hose is lying on my front lawn right now because the adapter that connects to the spout on the side of my house, it came out of the hose, and it's such an easy fix to put it back in that hose. And I guarantee you, Brad, you're going to come back next week to record the podcast. That shit's not going to be done. Shit's not going to be done.
I mean, it's 8 o'clock at night, and my kids are still at school. So I just can't bring myself to go get them.
That's it. They'll make it home, or they won't make it home. It just feels like too much. And here's the other thing. I was talking to someone about this the other day. Is like, I think back on. I don't have kids. Like, I don't have what you have. I don't have 2 kids. Right. I got a house, I got a job, I got a wife, I got 2 dogs.
He's got a cool hat.
I got a really cool hat.
I like this hat.
Thanks, buddy. But my parents, my mom worked full time. My dad had 2 jobs. They raised my sister and my house and myself with a house, while maintaining, relationships with family that was sometimes strained. And I'm sitting there going like, I feel weak because I feel like they're doing more than I did.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm not keeping up.
Well, because we have that work ethic.
Yeah, because like if they can do this and you're their son, their prodigy, you should be able to do more than that.
Yeah, like when I worked at I used to work at Technicolor. Mm-hmm. You guys may have seen their name on the credits to movies. And I would do 80-hour weeks on overnight shifts. Just grinding. Because like hard work. Like that's, we've talked about masculinity and all this stuff before. Hard work, that's a thing a man does. Mm-hmm. Like I cannot wrap my mind around guys who won't work.
Nope.
Like to me, and again, this is an old school thing and blah, 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 but like, you're not a man if you don't get out there and bust your ass at something, right? And, maybe I'm archaic in that respect.
But I get that.
But we have that.
Yeah.
And so when we get into these periods where, you can't go pick up the hose, I sit and stare at my computer for 2 hours and get nothing done, we feel like lazy pieces of shit.
Right. When I know neither one of us is lazy.
Yeah.
Neither one of us is lazy. If we were lazy, we wouldn't be where we're at. Like, just, we wouldn't be. I honestly feel like if you're bipolar and you're lazy, like, you're never getting out of bed. You're never getting out of bed because it takes so much work and so much
effort.
Only
in manic states.
Only in manic states. Otherwise, you're just laying in bed. Because it takes so much work and so much effort to just pull yourself out of the mire. Like, you have to have a work ethic. You have to be hardworking. You have to be resolute, or it's just not. It's not going to happen.
Enjoying BatShit? Please like, subscribe, and share it on social media. If you have someone you think may need to hear it, we encourage you to share it with them and to start your own conversation about mental health.
And something that sucks that I'm dealing with also, just wrapping my head around, it's realizing I've always had these periods. I'd have periods of mania and periods of depression before I knew I had bipolar. But it was like things would balance out. Like, you'd have your period of depression, you'd get nothing done, and then you'd fucking go manic.
Right.
And you'd work, you'd get 3 times as much shit done as you should in a week. And it was just like, over the course of a year, it'd balance out.
Yeah.
Like, you actually probably did more work
than
you normally would because of the manic states. And my medication has been a godsend, don't get me wrong. Even going into the depressions, it's not as bad as it was, but the mania's gone. So I can't even make up for it.
Right. Right. Yeah, like, you're constantly in the hole now.
Yeah.
Constantly in the hole.
And I'm having a really hard time wrapping my mind around that and figuring out how to deal with that.
And you talk about self-care, right? So like, you got to sit there and like recognize when you need a break and when you need to step back. And so you don't slip into that depressive state, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that might mean being like, well, no, you're not going to fix the hose today. But now I'm thinking about the hose all goddamn day. Yeah. Even though I'm like, nope, you told yourself you were going to fucking watch that episode of TV. So just relax. It's a hose. It's Los Angeles. You don't need it all the time, so relax. But I feel lazy. I feel lazy. And because I feel lazy, I start getting depressed. But then I want to fix it, but I shouldn't fix it because I'm trying to do self-care, which only makes me feel lazier. And like down I go, man. Yeah. The spiral, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's so cyclical. Yeah. And like you said, Mandy's doing everything she can to try to get you out of it, but another person can't do that.
No.
We've talked before about how when you're in a manic state, your brain's flooded with these chemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, all the feel-good chemicals. And I haven't seen this anywhere, but I wonder if in a depressed state, if your brain cannot produce those at all.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we're still learning so much about the medicine behind all the science behind all this. I mean, I was talking to my therapist last Thursday, and he's like, maybe we need to change your drugs. Maybe we need
Mine
to change...
just got upped.
Yeah?
Because of that.
Maybe we need to change him. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you talk about your depressive states far more than your manic states.
Yeah.
Far more. And the manic states that you do describe are not nearly as intense as the depressive. So we got to start tweaking your meds to help compensate for that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God damn it. One more fucking thing.
Yeah. Because you think you fucking got it.
I think I got it.
I mean, if you guys go back and you listen to our first couple episodes, we're like, man, our medication's great. We're wonderful. We got this shit under control.
But that's just like, you gotta know that's never, we never have it fully under control.
Yeah.
We don't have it under control. We were manic for the first 6 episodes of this podcast.
Probably.
I'd say we were manic.
Probably.
And that's because
low key
manic, but that's because we record them back to back. So we recorded the first 3 episodes one Tuesday. then recorded the next 3 episodes the next Tuesday, and then we crashed. And you can hear it in the energy level.
Yeah, if you listen to episodes 4, 5, and 6, I think they're our funniest episodes.
Sure.
Even though 5 is on depression.
Yeah, it is.
It's it's a down dark episode, but those 3 they're fucking hilarious. The bipolar relationships is like comic gold. Like I was actually thinking the other day, I was like, if I ever did stand up again, I'd just go in and like pull those bits. Yeah.
Chunks out of your
But I'm not sure how we're gonna end up releasing these, but we did an interview with someone on CPTSD, sorry.
It's so hard to say.
I know.
It's not on you. It's hard to say.
And I was so down when Adam sent it to me and I listened to it. I could hear it.
Yeah.
The lack of energy in my voice, even the pitch.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've gone and I put a slide whistle. So every time Brad speaks.
and a little honky horn.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you guys remember, this is a funny podcast. We're jovial. And
you know what? Just on a side note, something I meant to bring up in the episode we did on listener questions and forgot is a couple of people have written me attacking us for calling the podcast BatShit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and saying things like, you shouldn't talk about people who are mentally ill like that. And my response is always, I am mentally ill.
Yeah.
Are you? And they never are.
And they never...
Yeah, and it's like, this is my thing.
Yeah.
This is how I deal with it, is by
Yeah.
laughing at it. And fuck you if you can't take it.
Yeah.
This is what makes it bearable for
This
me.
is the only way it's bearable.
Yeah.
The only way is like I'm halfway to crying every time I'm laughing, is how I feel. I'm halfway to crying, and the only way to avoid that is to laugh. And it's super sad when you say it out loud, but if that's what works for you, if calling it BatShit is how it works for you, and laughing your way through this pain, like, because if you don't laugh, you cry, man. You don't laugh, you cry. And I want to say so much more about the state I'm in or the state I just experienced, and I'm lacking the words. And that's another thing that really pisses me off, because in our own way, we're both wordsmiths.
Yeah.
You know, we're both people who take a lot of pride in our ability to communicate to other people and to delve into that. So when I can't communicate, I get so angry. I'm so angry right now.
When I write, I feel like I'm so verbose and eloquent and able to take complex ideas and boil them down into simple sentences. And when I talk, I feel like I'm like, anybody seen where the bathroom is? Adam keeps having to adjust the volume on me. I
I'm
noticed.
like up and down and up and down.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. It's like, but no. And you want a solution, man. Like, there's no solution.
Yeah, there's no solution.
There's no solution.
And, for you out there listening, I mean, again, if you started from the beginning, you heard us being all positive and upbeat and like, we got this shit under control, man. And now we've gone through this.
Right.
And
yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say, just know that. Like, Adam always equates it to, and I try to keep this in mind, it's a constant fight.
Yeah.
You are fighting nonstop. And I will tell you, that fight is fucking exhausting sometimes. And sometimes you lose that fight. But if you keep fighting, you're going to win it more often than you lose it.
Yeah. Yeah, but the war's never over. The war is never over. It's battle after battle after battle. And you know what? In a couple episodes, we'll be back up.
Yeah.
We will be, because we're going to fight our way through it. And we're going to find outlets like this podcast that help turn it around. And like, we will go back to our coping mechanisms. And true, are some of our coping mechanisms healthier than others? Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Brad going to the gym, that's a healthy coping mechanism.
Brad trying MDMA? Not so much.
Not so much. I mean, no judgment here. But yeah, it's like Adam's drinking, not the healthiest coping mechanism.
Yeah.
But
he says as I'm drinking scotch.
I'm getting. By the way, my parents are going to see my sister. I'm coming back with 2 new bottles of scotch. With like my Lord Elco's coming back.
Lord Elco.
Hey, Lord Elco. But yeah, I mean, finding whatever you know, one of my main coping mechanisms, and I just realized this, and it's so funny because I was just talking about how much of a bitch this is. I like fixing things when I am in a depressive state.
Yeah.
And I was just bitching about the dryer, right? But when I accomplished fixing that dryer, I had that little bit of lift.
Yeah.
And if I go and I fix that hose, I bet you I have a little bit more of a lift. And like that's one of my healthy coping mechanisms. I will come out here and I will organize the garage.
Yeah.
I'll organize the garage. I have a little more space for my treadmill and my weights. And
man, I tell you, one of the ways that I knew I was depressed was I don't know if I told you this. I sold a script last week.
That's amazing! Congratulations.
Thanks. And to kind of a big time place. And I was thrilled to no end for about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just went away.
Yep. Then you're done.
Yeah.
Then you're done.
And then I was like, fuck, who knows if that'll ever get made. And if it does, it could be 2 years from now. And then it's another 2 years till they sell it and it's released. And,
yeah, it's, oh, man.
Yeah.
And doesn't that suck? It's like, my wife always says this. She's like, I don't remember the last time I really saw you happy. Like, really saw you happy.
Yeah.
I mean, moments of joy, sure. Like, I went and saw a stand-up comic last night. I saw Taylor Tomlinson, who is freaking hilarious. And if you haven't listened, and she talks actually a lot about mental health in her stand-up. She's great. And I had a great time, and I laughed my ass off. But I wasn't happy,
Right.
I wasn't happy. I was recognizing that humor, and I was expressing my recognition of it through laughter, but like I didn't feel like I had these crazy serotonin releases where I was like, "Oh man, I'm on cloud 9. Let's walk home talking about it." Like that's not.
You know what it's kind of? It's like you have moments of buoyancy.
Buoyancy,
right?
yeah.
You're throughout these states. You're deep under the water.
Sure.
And it's dark and it's cold, and then every now and then you kind of pop up a little bit.
Right.
Your head breaks the surface.
Right. But you're still in the water.
But you're still in the water.
You're still in the water, and it's
and
cold.
You're gonna sink again.
Yep, it is.
And
because you know that, it like you get kind of defeated.
I was gonna say,
about it, right?
It made it. This was the worst depression I'd had since getting diagnosed, and I felt like it made it worse to know.
Yeah.
Because before I was diagnosed, I would have been like, you know what, I'm burnt out.
Yeah.
I need to sleep in. I need to sit on the couch and eat Taco Bell and play The Witcher 3 for the 87th time.
Gotta win that Ghent game. Oh, Ghent. Gwent. Gwent game.
Gwent never ends.
Gwent never ends.
That's my favorite thing. That is so Gwent is this little like side card game you can play, but you can literally play it with anyone.
Right.
So you'll be talking to someone and he's like, "Witches came and stole all the children from our village. We don't know what's gonna happen. Is our children safe? We'll pay you to rescue them." And you can answer with, "How would you like to play a game of Gwent?"
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Sure," and you play card game.
There's like a lord who's just like, "You dare to show your face here again, Witcher? I saw last time I'd see you hung by your innards." Game of Gwent? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh,
you got to find the little things like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I did want to share something because I kind of feel like this helped pull me out of it.
Okay, please.
So the God damn it!
It's hard. CPTSD.
CPTSD.
I have to
episode.
think about it every time.
Yeah, that we did with Christi Wampler. Again, I'm not sure how these are going to drop, but that might be out already. You should check it out, and if not, check it out when it drops, whatever. Falls. Yeah.
However you
when it
kids,
falls.
However you kids do your podcasts.
When it jumps off the cliff. So we've kind of been messaging back and forth since then, and I told her about this, that I feel like that I'm just I'm so depressed. I feel broken. I feel like my illness defines me, and this was what she wrote me. It breaks my heart to know how you've struggled for so long. I feel like you've actively tried to work for peace your whole life, and it's been impossible to find. I do believe this diagnosis will be the key to you finding it, though. I do. And I admire you so much for seeking solutions and resolutions in your life. Too many people don't or can't. and that is how pain continues to roll over onto more people. You're putting a stop to that, and you deserve so much credit for putting in more work. That's the real shit about all of this. You've already suffered the pain, and yet you still have to do the work. I think that's one of the hardest life lessons, realizing no one will heal you for you. I want someone to bring me a bowl of hot soup and put a blanket on me and rub my hair until I feel better, like a little girl. But we have to do that for ourselves, and that takes amazing bravery. You're doing it, and I'm proud of you. I absolutely understand what you mean when you say no one sees you. I also know that as you're starting on this healing journey, that part of you needs a lot of attention, or at least grace. You are dismantling yourself right now, and that's extremely scary. It would be so much easier to stick with the devil you know than going to the devil you don't, even if that devil is destroying you. You know that pattern. It's easy to stay in it. But you said no more. You made the leap. I'm proud of you.
Oh, she's a good person.
God, she is.
She's a good person. And I think it's so much easier to stick with the devil you know. It'd be so much easier to turn a blind eye to this and come up with an excuse as to why you're feeling this way. Just ignore the problem. But like one of the ironic things about this podcast is I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm literally talking about it every week with you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about trying to grapple with this illness and
and like she said, the bitch of it is that we've already suffered the pain, but we still have to do the work.
Yeah.
You got to do it those things don't coincide with each other.
That's not fair.
It's not.
It's not fair.
It's not. It's fucking not.
Hey, internet. That's not fair. Fix it.
Yeah. It's not fair for any of you out there
Yeah.
that you were born with this or developed it. Whatever it is you might have, it's not fucking fair. And all of you, I think what she said to me is true for all of you. You're brave and you're strong for doing the work.
Yeah.
And going through this struggle. And I'm proud of all of you.
Yeah. And you know what? This episode is not self-pity. I believe that. I was really hesitant about recording this episode when we talked about it because I don't want... This is not self-pity.
Well, because it's so easy when you get depressed to be like, God, what a piece of fucking shit I am.
And this is not me, this is not us complaining just to feel heard. It's us complaining to communicate how we feel. We accept the fact that we feel this way. We're not saying, woe is me, why me? We're not doing that. We're just saying that, we feel this way. It sucks. I want it to be better. And if you feel this way, then it sucks for you and you want it to be better. And we see you and we acknowledge you and you are worthy. You are worthy of forgiveness and love and you know what? A break. You deserve a break. You deserve a break. Cut yourself some slack.
Yeah.
Cut yourself some slack when you feel this way.
Give yourself some grace.
Give yourself some grace. Afford yourself kindness.
Afford yourself kindness.
Also
Christi.
Also Christi. Yeah, also Christi one-liner. Afford yourself some kindness. And don't trauma dump. Don't trauma dump. We talked about this. Don't trauma dump on somebody. But
it's okay to tell people that you're not okay.
Yeah, it's okay to say you don't feel well.
Yeah.
And if that person wants to and is willing to listen, God bless them. God bless them. But even just saying and admitting out loud sometimes, I don't feel well, that will help.
Yeah, because otherwise you're holding it all in.
Yeah.
And it just builds and builds. I mean, it's pressure, man.
Yeah, it is pressure.
And you turn yourself into a pressure cooker.
And then that's going back to what we talked about earlier, how everything seems to overwhelm us. Every little thing. And if you think you're overwhelmed now, and then you don't tell anyone about how overwhelmed you are, and then you just let that pile on top of the continual crap fest that sometimes life is,
yeah,
you'll explode. You'll explode. So, I think talking about it, however you want to talk about it, whether that's with someone else, whether that's writing in a journal,
leave us a voice message.
Leave us a voice message. You want to send, you know what? I encourage anyone out here, if you just want to get something off your chest, send us a message, man. You want to send it to us on Twitter? You want to send it to us on Facebook, YouTube? You want to record a voice message? Get it out. Go ahead.
There's a little Spotify link, which I think also shows up on Apple and stuff for leaving us a voice message.
Yeah.
So.
We're still learning how all this technology works. So if we don't see it right away, apologies. But
we're recording this on tin cans and string right now.
Yeah, my dog is like turning the what's it called, the recorder. You know, but it's leave us a message, please. I encourage you to do that. I want to hear it. I want to hear, because you know what that does? That tells me I'm not crazy for feeling this way.
Yeah.
That tells,
And that's what we all need to know. We're not alone. We're in this shit together, and we can help each other. I mean, you know, we talked on the listener question episode about how much it helps us to get your messages, that it's helping you guys with this podcast.
It's huge.
It's helping us just as much to hear that from you. Like, this is a symbiosis here.
Yeah. You listening gives us the energy to do this. Us doing this gives you the energy to keep fighting, which gives us the energy to keep fighting. And it's symbiotic, this whole relationship.
Yeah.
So please don't stop. Please help us. I'm asking you for help.
Yeah.
Please, you're helping me. Every one of you that listens is helping me.
And goddamn, do we need it.
Yeah, we do. Because the scotch doesn't get here for like 3 weeks. Oh, man. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being supported by us. It's like I appreciate every one of you.
And, you know, share this with anyone who needs it.
Yeah.
If you know someone that is struggling, or has a loved one that's struggling, or that they might be undiagnosed with something, share this with them. Like, subscribe, share it on social media. Get the word out.
Please, start to make the conversation bigger. We're going to learn more by talking to more people. And you don't have to be mentally ill if you want to comment or say something or send us a message. You could honestly, I expect one of these messages to be my wife just screaming, like one syllable, just like like that's it. That's the whole message. Feel free if you're a parent. If you're a parent, I would love to hear from you.
Yeah,
I would love to hear from you if your child is, going through something, or possibly diagnosed, or maybe getting diagnosed, or I would love to hear from you, because you're on the front lines with the rest of us. You know?
We'd love to hear from. We're always looking for people to interview.
Oh, yeah.
If you're dealing with another mental illness that we haven't touched on yet, if you work an interesting job, how the mental illness might affect that. If you're in the military or a sex worker, how do these things, how are they impacted by the mental illness that you struggle with?
Yeah. Please, every bit of information, every person's voice matters. Because
the stigma, unfortunately, against mental illness is real. And we're fighting it one inappropriate and crude joke at a time.
Boobs.